Hello everyone, this is Dawn. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome to another Inspiration Collaboration Design Team challenge. This month, the design team is showing a new spin on Christmas papers. We're going to show you how to use the Christmas papers in a new and different way that is not holiday related. Okay, so I have some papers from the Season of Elegance collection and also the Season of Green and Gold. And these are the pictures that I'm going to scrapbook. I'm continuing my Ouray Telluride trip, and these pictures are from the first night that we were in Ouray. Okay, so I'm going to use this as my base. And I like the look of and the color of this particular designer series paper. And then I'm going to use this piece with the gold foiling for an element on my layout. So the sketch that I'm going to use is from one of our older Make It From Your Heart books. This is volume 2, and the sketch is number 2. And I'm going to cut a large circle out of this pretty peacock paper. Okay, so I'm looking at that other one again and making sure. We'll see how it looks once I get the circle cut, whether I want to use that other DSP, the flip side. So I'm going to go ahead and tack this piece down to my Versamat. And then I'm using an old tool. This is a Martha Stewart circle cutter, and I need an 11-inch circle. So I'm adjusting it, and I'm sorry, my Versamat and my cardstock are a little wonky here. So I'm just placing the center of it right in the middle of everything and then just cutting all the way around. So it's a little tricky, but yeah, I'll cut a circle. And then the part that didn't completely cut, I'll just go in with some fine tip scissors and snip the rest and clean it up. So now we have our circle. And then I'm going to cut it in half. So I'll place this in my trimmer at 5.5 inches. And we'll go ahead and cut that. So half will sit on the left side of the layout and the other half on the right. And then when it's butted up against each other, it'll look like a complete circle. Okay, so we'll set that down. I'm liking that. It kind of looks like a globe almost. So yeah, kind of cool. All right, so this is Season of Green and Gold. I think it's my favorite out of all the Christmas papers. I've used it a lot, and this particular pattern. So I'm going to cut 2 pieces at 5 by 12. I'm just going, I'm using the measurements on the sketch. And then I need pieces that are 1/2 inch. So we'll set that up. And then the flip side of this green foliage paper is vanilla with some little gold diamonds. They're gold foiled diamonds. So I'm looking at that. And then I have this vanilla ribbon. This is from Winterly Treetops, and it's also in the Christmas catalog. But I felt like it was a little too sheer. You could see the gold foiling from that pretty peacock circle underneath. And so ultimately I decided to go with this other foiled piece. So I'm going to cut 4 strips at 1/2 inch each. So we'll go ahead and get the first one cut, and then I'll skip ahead real quick. So I need 4 1/2 inch strips. And then I'm going to bring in some shimmer trim. Okay, so I have a variety of colors. First, I brought in gold, and I didn't like that. And then I brought in pine, and I like that, but let's try a few others. This one is a green one that's kind of a yellow green. Didn't like that. And then I'm going to bring in, let's try another one. First, we're going to set up according to the pattern, the pine. I think that's working. But just to make sure, I'm going to bring in some journey, and didn't like that. It just wasn't working for me. So I'm going to go with pine. So I cut 4 strips at 12 inches each. And that's the basic layout of my pattern. So now we have a base, and I'm going to choose some cardstock colors for my mats. So this is Harbor, and I like that against the pretty peacock. And this is Fern, and I like that. There's some blues in my pictures, and I just kind of want it to draw everything together, but keep it mostly earth tones. Okay, so I have matted all of my pictures, and I've added foam tape to the backs of all of them. So I'm going to lay everything out. That's my basic pattern. So that 4x6 on the right page, I split it up into 2 3x4s so I could get more pictures. Okay, so this set is called Encircled in Nature, and I believe it was an online exclusive. It's still available. You can get it on my website, and I like that twig wreath. So I'm going to ink that out and stamp that on vanilla cardstock, and I'm going to create a journaling block with that. And I have the coordinating dies as well. Okay, so we'll get that set up in my Misty, and it's a new stamp set to me, so I'm going to season my stamp so it's ready to take ink. So I'm just rubbing a microfiber cloth on the stamp, and I'm going to ink that up with pecan pie, and we'll get that stamped out. Kind of making a mess of my Misty there, so we'll get it cleaned up before we stamp. And I like that. Okay, then I'm going to bring in another stamp. There's various foliage and greens that you can add to this image. So I've got some pine trees here that I'm going to stamp on the lower portion of this image. So I've shifted it around in my Misty so that I could get the stamp in the right place, so the trees are going to be going in the right direction. And we'll go ahead and ink that up. First, I'm going to season it. And then we'll ink that up with Mossy Meadow. And we'll stamp that out. And so the lower corner of that circle has trees on it. Kind of cool. All right, so I'm going to pull the coordinating dies, and then there are a few more dies that have similar trees to that stamped image. So I'm going to die cut some of those. So I'll bring in another piece of vanilla cardstock, and I have a slightly smaller wreath circle, and I'm going to cut that out. So one circle's going on the left page and the larger one's going on the right. So off camera, I've drawn some lines on this circle, and I've done my journaling. And then I found some of these Woodgrain die cuts, and I found an arrow, so I've just journaled the date on the arrow. Okay, so we'll get these dies all put away, and then off camera, I've cut everything out. So I have some of these trees, in both fern and New England ivy, and then the smaller wreath here. So off camera, I've cut out another title. This is for the name of the town that we were in. It's called Ouray. And I've cut that with the slim alphabet dies in pine. And now I'm going to go ahead and ink up the edges of this smaller die cut, just so it looks similar to the one that's going to be on the right page, and just kind of inked the edges, gave it some definition. It looks pretty cool when it's inked up. All right, so that one's going to go on the left, and it's going to be a base for my title so that my title will pop. The greens would have disappeared had I just put the title down on that green pattern paper, so I needed something to make it pop. So go ahead and place that there, and then we'll cluster these little tree die cuts around that image. So it's gonna roughly look like that, and then we'll put our journaling piece on the right panel along with that arrow that has the date. Okay, so I think this is my favorite of all time stamp set and die set. So it comes with masks as well. This is what Stampinup calls stencils. So I'm going to use the stencils, and I'll show you how to use this. This, I don't know if I mentioned it, it's the Frosted Forest stamp set bundle. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my Altenew sticky mat. This is the Ultra Sticky Mat, and I love to use it for stenciling. So I'll bring that in, and then I'll bring in a piece of White Daisy cardstock. In retrospect, I could have used vanilla, but this works. I'm going to go with it. So we'll place that down on the sticky mat. Now, each of these masks, they're labeled. So these are A, B, and C, and there's a little notch so that if it's a design that you're not sure which direction it goes, that helps you to decide which way to place it. And so they're labeled which masks. So I'm going to start with A. And this sticky mat, it helps because it's got kind of a grid design on it. So I'm going over, the edge of the mask is over by 2 and up by 4. And that's helps me know exactly where to place it for layering. Okay, so these are the Altenew blending tools. I think these are the medium-sized blending tools. So I'm going to bring in my first color of ink. This is Old Olive. And that pink grip mat underneath just helps me. It's a what is it? It's a kitchen tool for holding hot pots, and so it just keeps my stamp pad from wandering around as much. It holds it in place. So I'm going to ink up that blending tool and just blend in on that mask. I like the smaller blending tool. You could use a blending brush as well. It gets in all those tiny nooks and crannies. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and place this next one. This is the B mat. Again, over 2 squares and up 4 squares, and it just sticks right there to the sticky mat. And the next color I'm going to use is Mossy Meadow. And we'll go ahead and blend that in for some more detail. The next layer. These turn out so cool. Okay, that's the next layer. You can use all 3. You can go with 2. I did a variety, but this one I'll show you how to use all 3. Again, 2 squares over, 4 squares up. And if you're interested in this Altenew mat, I'll put a link in the description below. And I'll list all the supplies that I used. Okay, so we'll go ahead and line that one up. And I'm going to use Avocado. So this one is a cool stencil. It'll be nice for winter pictures. So you could use like a white paste and make it look like there's snow and flocking on the tree. But for now, it's not winter, so I'm going to use Avocado. Okay, so now this is a detail stamp, and I'm going to go ahead and set everything up in my MISTI and just place all of these, place these tree images over the stenciled image. And this will add more detail so you can see those pine needles. Okay, so we'll get those set up in my MISTI. And now I'm going to ink up these stamps with shaded spruce. And this will kind of give it a little bit of a blue-green tone, so it looks like a Colorado blue spruce. So we'll stamp that out. And I'll pull this out of the MISTI and I'll bring it close to the camera. So I'm going to slow things way down and check that out. The detail and the shading is so fun, isn't it? I love it. So I made a whole bunch and then I cut them out with the coordinating dies. So I have a whole bunch to choose from. I used some various colors, mostly the same that I used in the example that I showed you. Some I used only 2 layers for the masks, and most of them I used all 3. So we'll go ahead and cluster a bunch of these trees along that top line of this DSP block. So I'm just going to kind of fuss with these a little bit as far as layering goes, and then off camera I'll glue everything down, and I'll pop a few of them with some foam tape. So don't want to be matchy for both sides, so I'm thinking about that. Right now it's matchy, but I'll switch things up in a second. So we'll get some more of these trees layered on in, and then off camera I'll get them glued down. Okay. Now to finish it up, of course, I need a little bling. So these are the Earth Tone Shimmer Gems, and they're from the Winterly Treetops collection. So I'm going to take some of these lighter colored ones, they're sort of vanilla ivory colored, and I'm going to scatter a bunch of those around. So I'll show you a close-up of my finished layout, but if you want to see even more close-up shots, head on over to my Facebook page and I'll have those close-up shots over there for you. And make sure you click on the playlist and check out the rest of the design team's projects featuring Christmas papers, not for Christmas, a new spin on Christmas papers. So I love these collections. They're very earth toned, and they lend very well to outdoor photos. So I appreciate you watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button, and then you'll be able to find all of my videos. Thanks for watching.